Guys, Bridget here. In this video, we're going to talk about resumes and CVs for designers. So I'm going to give you some tips and especially a mindset around how to create an effective CV for your next job application. Now, I'm going to start with a bit of a caveat, and that is that you can actually get away without having a CV these days in quite a few instances because LinkedIn is essentially going to replace the CV, but it's still important to have. If you, for example, are applying for a larger company, usually they require always CVs, and any job which has formal applications really. So if you're a freelancer, probably you aren't going to be asked as much, but it's still important to have it when needed. And by the way, this CV set is available for free. I'm leaving it as a freebie. It was done in collaboration with my girlfriend, who did help in some of these as an exercise. So I'm leaving it entirely for free. You can check the link in the description. And let's get started with the very first tip, which is keep it simple. So CVs in general are going to essentially help the hiring manager or the founder to basically learn more about your background. So the very most important thing is going to be the experience. And if you don't have experience, if you're looking for your first internship or your first job, of course, the education is going to be the most important section in your CV. But as you have more years of experience, the experience section is going to take more and more emphasis compared to the education. So this is just a natural progression, and you need to be mindful because you're going to need to organize the CV around this, and especially the mindset of not trying to list every accomplishment or every skill and the features of you as a product if you wish, but you always wanted to approach it from a mindset of these are the valuable elements that I can bring to the table, but I'm really focused on helping the business grow. So even when you approach, for example, the if you have a small section for an introduction to yourself, like in this profile section, you wanted to be focusing on how you can help the company, how your skills can be leveraged to bring the business to the next level, and less about, maybe like personal interests or things like that, which might be good to mention, but you really want to keep the bulk of the focus on your experience and how it can help your the company basically go to the next level. And of course, another important section, which I go through so many CVs, and it's funny that they miss the contact section. So you definitely wanted to add a phone number, maybe the email for sure. Phone number is actually optional. It really depends on the type of company that you're applying for, but definitely the email. I'd say the address isn't really relevant, especially if you're working remotely. Don't really want to add those. So again, even in this CV set, I'm giving you a basic outline, but of course, if you decide to utilize one of these templates, you need to edit it heavily in order to make it custom for you. And also add the internal conversation. Some of these elements I would have definitely displayed them in a different way. So see this as a boilerplate starting point in order to avoid just looking at the screen from scratch. And that's basically, its focus. So getting back to the CVs themselves. Another thing which is useful is going to be the skill set when it comes to your tech stack. So, what are the softwares that you are familiar with, that you're proficient with, and you don't want to go into too much depth. I know that the tech stack these days can be very, very extensive, so you want to keep it high level. You know, if you're a designer, uh, most likely it's going to be Figma, but you also want to maybe include new tools which are AI related, such as ChatGPT, if you're using it extensively and things of that nature. That is really going to depend on, you know, your use case. And I know that as I'm shooting these videos, some of you are into UI UX design, but there's also web designers, graphic designers, even illustrators and 3D designers. So it really depends on your specific skill set. What do you think is going to be most relevant? And another thing which I would definitely want to mention, which is quite important, is you want possibly to have multiple CVs for different job applications. And this is something that I rarely see people do. And it's very clear because sometimes in the past, when I was hiring designers for companies or a project, I would see CVs which are definitely not tailored to the specific job opening. To make this example clear, you want to think it in terms of apples and oranges. If you're applying for a job which is requiring a lot of skills when it comes to apples, and that is what you're going to be working on day on apples solely. You don't want to have many oranges in your CV. You want to showcase that you have a lot of skill set in apples. So this is a funny example, but you can kind of see the rationale behind it, because if your entire portfolio is focused, say, on graphic design, and you do have UI UX design skills, maybe you worked on UI UX design projects, and you're applying to a UI UX design related job, it's going to make your life harder, because although you might as well have the skill set, you're showcasing that you have only graphic design skills, or maybe you have limited UI UX design skills, and that alone can make you look poorer compared to other candidates. So this is definitely something that you want to keep in mind. And again, generally speaking, just keep it simple. The simple the CV and the most straight to the point, the better. I would highly recommend you also to keep it in one page if possible, maximum 2 pages, but no more than 2 pages, because I can tell you from someone who's been in the hiring seat many times, you receive so many different applicants that is really difficult to go through the ins and out of each and every candidate whenever if you receive a lot of CVs, and especially if your CV is very text dense, for example. So definitely keep these things in mind. Keep it simple, straight to the point. Bonus tip is if you need a CV fast and you don't have the time to design it, you can actually go on LinkedIn. There is a section, if you go on your LinkedIn profile, that allows you to download the LinkedIn profile as a resume. It's entirely for free, and you can have a resume in a very short amount of time. That can be helpful if you're in a specific situation where you absolutely need a CV, you don't have designed it previously, and you just need something fast, essentially. So that's that. Hope this video was helpful, and if you have any questions related to this topic, feel free to leave me a comment below, and I'll try my best to get back to you. And if you want to learn more about design, I have over 900 free videos on my channel, so feel free to check them out, and I'll see you in the next one.